Well, good afternoon, friends. Bill here with Sports Fan Outreach. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good week. We're having one here, and looking forward to heading out Thursday, Lord willing, to go to London again. And that's what we're talking about today with Ken Hisle. So I'm excited to bring Ken on. We're going to talk about going to London.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Well, tell me about it. What makes you excited about going to London, Ken? How many times have you been going now?
Well, I think this will be my 8th time if my
Wow.
count is right. Yeah, because the first time I had went was for the World Cricket, which was something I'll probably always remember. Or no, it was rugby. Yeah, in 2015. We did cricket like a year or two later, but yeah, we was all over England and Wales,
Yeah.
and it was a great time of being able to go out and just proclaim the gospel to people who, as I've mentioned before, who have probably never ever heard a clear gospel presentation before. So yeah, it was just an awesome time, and I dreaded it the first time. I make no secrets about that. I didn't even really want the Lord to bring the money for me to be able to go. But of course, you'd mentioned it to me several times, you and actually Bobby, when we were, I don't know, at an event. And I said, just if you got a letter I can send out, Bill, I'll send it out.
Yeah.
Send it out. And, the Lord just started causing the finances to come in. And the more finances came in, the more nervous I got. And, so it was definitely an intense time for me to go and to Europe. But since that first time that I went, I've just looked so forward to going back, that I have such a love for, the people there. And, you see the state of what Europe is in, and I think America is fastly catching up with it.
Right.
Most of the churches are what, museums and libraries, and that's just
that way, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, you're more likely to run across a mosque than you are a church. But yeah, just love being able to go there and proclaim the gospel.
What do you think it is? Let me ask you this about London that makes it worth all the time and effort, money, fundraising, travel, leaving home, all that stuff. From your perspective, what makes it worthwhile?
Well, I think there's several things, actually. I can't just put it down to one thing, because you're going and you're preaching the gospel to the people across the pond, which is really good. You don't have the political atmosphere like you have here. I don't know anything about what's going on in Europe, and I try not to pay any attention to that. I think the whole world's kind of going upside down, but and I think that's goes without saying. But you also have the elements of the fellowship, which is just an awesome time. It's almost like a family reunion every time you go. The more you go to these events with these same brothers and sisters, because we'll have some sisters that'll go once in a while. It's like a family reunion, and so you have that great time of fellowship, and the teachings that you line up. Sometimes like the time that we went and I think we went to Oxford.
Yeah.
Richard Turnbull,
Right.
Which I always loved, the times when you fucked that up. But it's just all of those elements, and nobody can really go to London and not admire, the history of this place and all of the buildings and things like that, which we're not there to vacation or anything, or as tourists. We're there to preach the gospel. And so we really see a lot of this stuff from the outside. And, but it's an awesome time. There's just so many elements to it that I think that makes it just a must do outreach.
Yeah, I'm with you. You get over there, you don't think about everything over here. You don't know who the people are when you look at the newspaper. You don't really pay attention to the news. It's just kind of like 10 days, 2 weeks of being free.
Yeah. In fact, they mentioned the politics here more than what we have to do with anything there. Like don't mention Trump or whatever it is, but you just kind of just go about your do it went there to do, you know.
And that's great. It's just a focused
Yeah.
time. You leave. It costs you something to go over there, money and time away from family and your
Right.
buddy Gracie. And so, you want to stay focused on the task. And so that's cool. So tell us, like, if you can remember, just what's one or two of your most fondest ministry moments. I know your fondest moment was when we were on the train and I explained to you Anglicanism. I know that's your fondest moment, but ministry moment, give me a couple of those if you remember.
It was a very fond moment. It was. Well, and it was more than a moment, but yeah, it was a great time. Love it. Never will forget it, you know. But no, I would say that, in mentioning that train ride, one of the moments that I had there is when we was in Wales. We're walking down the street in Cardiff, Wales. People, there was just, people from building to building. The streets were packed. The sidewalks were packed. And if you remember correctly, I lost my voice like almost 2 days into this. I was like, so I'm up there and I'm preaching. I'm eating these lozenges, right? And so I'm standing on a box. I'm preaching with the little amp, the little acre, and nobody could hardly even hear me, brother. And I don't even know if I've shared this with you before, but so I'm up there. I'm doing everything I can to speak, and I'm thinking to myself, Lord, I don't even know why I'm even speaking right now. I don't even know why I'm even here. Nobody's going to listen to me. And my voice was so bad. A gentleman comes up to me and he unwraps this lozenge and he holds it out to me. And I take it and I thank him and I set it on my coffee cup. And he said, no, take it. It'll help your voice. I said, I've already got the exact same lozenge in my mouth. So my voice was that bad. It's, just people out of the blue was offering me something for my voice. So anyway, so I'm preaching. And when I get down, I had two men come up to me after I got done speaking that never would have paid attention whatsoever if my voice wasn't so bad. But they stood there and they listened. And they was two individual guys that I spoke with that had told me that if it wasn't for the fact that I was struggling so much to say what I was saying, that they probably wouldn't have even paid any attention.
Oh, really?
But it was because I was struggling so hard that they listened. Their ears, they listened to what I was saying. Two great conversations. One that I probably never forget. This brother that I believe is a Christian today. But that was just an awesome time there in Cardiff, and I've had Doc and we was out at Wembley. And this was so cool. And, you got tons of them, especially 7-8 times of being there. But these are the times that really stood out. So we're over there and, we have this one sign that says, do you know if you're going to go to heaven or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm bringing with me this year. It's probably one of the best signs you can take with. And these two officers come over. One of them was definitely Muslim and the other one I'm not sure about. So he comes up to us and says, well, how do you know if you're going to heaven? Brother, I'm telling you what, man, they just opened up a great conversation. And so, we had this, was able to share the gospel with these two officers, and I've got a picture of them somewhere. And, it was everything that they would come up with, like the Muslim would come up with to kind of come against what, scripture says versus, Islam. The Lord just gave me everything that I needed, and it was a great conversation, just an awesome conversation with these two officers. But you have all kinds of memories like that where you've had, these interactions that God has given you. And we know that if it's just one soul that God reaches by going over there, how do you put a price on that?
Right.
How do you put a time frame? Well, is it worth my time to go there for one soul? Well, of course it is. But out of the hundreds of thousands of people that hear the gospel, and then one last one there, we was at the stadium that we're going to. I just can't think of the name of it right off, but we was there for a cricket game. I think it was one of the last couple of times we went.
Yeah.
And it's all Indians out there pretty much. And, so we're preaching, and there was this Indian gentleman that stood there and listened the whole time, listened to me, and a younger guy. And when I get down and we converse a little bit, he said, Ken, he says, if you're ever in India, he said, "You have a place to stay."
Did he
It
really?
was, like the main town, the main, city in India or whatever it was. But and I got a picture of that gentleman too. But it was just, you just don't know. Like I'd mentioned earlier, and you had mentioned to me that sometimes you're thinking, what am I accomplishing out here? And it's like, you're going, look, brother, these people have never probably heard the gospel ever. Oh, they may have heard about Jesus, but they never heard the gospel with clarity. So yeah, man, it's an awesome thing. And I could go on and on and on, just as I know that you could, with testimonies about interaction there.
Well, it's hard to. It's not possible. It's hard to imagine though, like the range of people that are in London that we typically do not see. I mean, even in New York City, I've been up there some. It doesn't seem the same. It's over there. It seems to be. I guess you might say it's a little more natural, like London and being what it was and how it ran the world. And those people are in London. It's they're not tourists over there. They're living there and they speak. A lot of them speak in that English sort of dialect or accent. They're raised there, and so it's very unique when you interact with them. It's just so, I don't know. It's just different that way. And I like that a lot. It seems to be I guess if we went to another city in the Middle East or something, you just get a little bit different flavor. I enjoy that. You know what I mean?
I like it too. Yeah, it's really good. And they do have kind of an attitude towards Americans.
Yeah.
It's almost like that you've abandoned us when you started America or whatever.
Well, that's true.
I don't know, but I mean, you do. You kind of get that little bit of it. Remember the church we went to, and the pastor, he opened up his door and he said, "What I do to get all these Yankees or something?" I don't know what it was. But it was hilarious, And so he's like, we're standing out there waiting to go to they call them estates there instead of neighborhoods, remember?
Yeah.
And so he's going to me. Yeah, he goes, yeah, Americans, everything's bigger in America. And I said, oh, no, not really. And he said, well, what kind of a vehicle do you drive? I said, well, I drive a van that you could fit probably 2 or 3 of your cars into.
That's true.
Because he kept razzing me about this American thing. But they really do. And I don't think they're meaning to be rude, but it's almost like you have this thing that and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's just kind of like, look, I didn't abandon you, man. That was our forefathers. I didn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah, it's good though. I mean, I love it. I very much enjoy it. Yeah.
You definitely get a different view of the whole situation. And I think it helps us. I think every country is probably this way. We're so self-absorbed over here. You get over there, you see and hear things a little bit differently. Sort of does cast a different light on us and how people see us and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
What about the Highbury Center? Tell everybody about that. That's one of my favorite places because tell us about that. You like that?
I very much like the Highbury Center. I very much like it. If I was to talk about some of the places that we stayed before, and it was always nice places. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they wasn't, but they some of the neighborhoods that we went through, and some of the places that we would have to sleep. And God bless Doc, but him and I just can't share the same room, and he knows that. If he's watching, he's laughing right now. But it's like what an oasis. After being out evangelizing all day long and the walking and all of because there's a lot of physical, people think you're going on vacation when you say you're going to London. And it's like, no, it's not vacation, it's work. And so you're out all day, you're preaching all day, and it's very taxing on you. And what a blessing it is to be able to go to the Highbury Center and to just be able to relax. I mean, it's a great place to go. In fact, I think I'd been there probably 3 times. The first 3 times, 2 or 3 times, we was staying at the different places that I know what they're called. I just can't think of it right offhand, but that you'd find for us and close to where we was going. But yeah, and so when I was like, the first time we stayed at the Highbury Center, I was like, man, when did you find out about this? Oh, well, I've been coming here for years or something. I don't know what it was, but it's worth it to I don't know if it's a little extra to stay there, but it's well worth it. I really like the Highbury Center, and I look forward to getting back there.
Yeah, that place that you and Doc and I stayed at, I don't even know where that was, but we were in the neighborhood.
we was walking through neighborhoods, man, that I'm telling you what, I would not have want to walk through there in the middle of the night, man. It was crazy. And I think that they even on the inside of the door, they had like some Hindu god or something on it.
Something like that, yeah. And
That's
Doc,
probably why Doc and I had such a rough time at Hindu god over the door.
and Doc
But,
slept in the lobby. He snored so loud, I think he woke up the whole house.
yeah.
And so they were definitely suspicious of us by the time we left.
Oh yeah, yeah. And at the time it's a little bit irritating, because he told me, he said, brother, you snore too. I was like, Doc, I said, that's not the issue. The issue is that I can't sleep when you're snoring.
Exactly.
But he's a good brother. I love him. And those are such fond memories now.
Yeah.
I hope he looks at it with fondness, even though he had to sleep on the little love seat.
Oh yeah, he didn't do it, man.
But
I'm not going to bring it up, but that was a
Huh?
trip. I'm not going to go into detail here on live, but that's the trip you and me and Doc went down to Spurgeon's tomb the first time, right? So,
Yeah.
we just had the thing is, we just had a really special time. I mean, all
We
the
did.
trips are special times together. You have such what's the word? Unreplaceable. You just can't recreate unrecreatable memories together. They just happen so much. And we went to the graveyard there, where all the Christians are buried and stuff like that. You just have these experiences that, because it's London, it's a long way away, we just can't go and do it again. Stuff like that.
Right.
It's really special.
Oh, it really is. I mean, you're standing in places where, in Oxford, for instance, we're standing there on the X on the pavement where, Kramer, Ridley, and Latimer, I believe all three of them was burned at the stake. I mean, at this spot because of the standing up for their faith. And it's amazing the history that is there, in the Christian history, especially, so it really is. And I mean, it's very sobering. We was at the one, I don't remember the name of the pastor. I get it mixed up with another one. And usually when I'm trying to think of something, that's when I can't. But remember, we was at where the pastor was burned outside of his church. And that was that in where Whitfield was from? Gloucester?
Yeah.
It was John something. I just can't think of what.
John, because Adrian Clark showed up.
Hopper or
yeah, Hooper.
Okay, yeah.
Stephen Hooper. Yeah.
And you're standing there and you're thinking, man, I get upset. I get concerned because somebody maybe yells at me or something. It's just, and a lot of the Whitfield, his biography and stuff. I mean, we don't go through anything, brother.
That's right.
We don't go through anything compared to what they did at that time. But so it definitely gives you look at it from a different perspective, a very sobering perspective that these guys gave their lives, so yeah, the history.
That's pretty cool. Were you there? I guess no, we went to, Turnbull, I've been through that place twice in Oxford where they burned Cranmer and everybody.
Okay. I've only been there once.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's amazing. The Christian history over there. I think that's one thing you don't really, when you're over here, you don't understand the historical, the Christian history of England. Like Oxford started, 1800s, 800s, I think, 1200 or something. It's the oldest Christian school, and all the Christian history just in one city, and all that stuff is pretty phenomenal what is going on. And then, we went over to Wales, and you just get a bigger picture of Christian life over there, and we are certainly descendants of that Christianity. Puritans, Pilgrims, these things, the Methodists and Wesley and these guys. It's all flowing over from England to us. So it's kind of like going back to the motherland a little bit. And
oh yeah, it really is. Walking through some of the halls of Oxford. I think we had brunch with the dean. I may be mistaken who it was that we had brunch with, but I think it was the dean.
Right, vice principal. Yeah. Simon Vibert. Yeah.
And so you're sitting there and you're going, am I really sitting where I'm sitting right now?
Yeah.
Am I really walking down the streets that I'm walking down right now?
Yeah.
And you remember what Dr. Turnbull had told us about Oxford. The reason why there was no damage there is because Hitler wanted to make it his capital. And so he said, don't bomb Oxford. So that's why there was no damage from the war in Oxford. And so you're walking down the streets and it's just incredible. I mean, Whitfield and Wesley and all of them had walked down those same streets that you walked down.
No, very true. Very true. It's you don't really think about it when you get on the plane, but that's all that's over there. And it's so accessible. And plus they have all those Church of England buildings everywhere. And so you just don't really, it's not like it's it's just always in your face. It's always there. And,
it is. It's just incredible.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
I think Wesley's Chapel probably 2 or 3 times.
We went over there, didn't we, a couple times? And
we did.
Yeah, I think so.
Bun Field's next across the road, where Bunyan is buried. And,
right, Isaac Watts and those guys, and Wesley. Of course, I can't remember everything. Wesley, where Wesley slept and where he prayed, that is still there. Right?
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah,
so still there. I think. Did we go? I know I went to the church kind of where one of they had changed it, of course, where Whitfield had a church, the Tabernacle. Were we together on that trip? Remember that? It was kind of
we walked past it. I know where you're talking about. The Whitfield Tabernacle or something like that. Yeah, we went there. Yeah, and like the original, I think it was like the original oil painting of George Whitfield was in there.
Right.
Yeah. And that was really incredible. The places that we've been, we went on a train ride and did some outreach with some people. It was like at the end of the line somewhere. I don't remember where that was, Bill, but but it was a church that we went to was a church that Whitfield funded to have built or something. So it was incredible.
That's amazing. I love going there. It's just
me too, brother.
I think
I look forward to seeing what you have planned this year.
We've got about 3 guys lined up to come talk to us, and there's another pastor up by the stadium up in Tottenham Hotspur. He's going to get some other local pastors together, and so I think we're making some connections this year. So
praise the Lord.
Hopefully. So we'll see how it all works out. We've run some ads on. What's that thing called? Evangelical Times, and got to know the editor through there. And so he connected me with his brother who works for London City Mission. So, we're incrementally every trip getting, more ingrained in the whole situation over there. So,
and the times that we've, met with the attorney there, that is, yeah. I mean, I remember it's such a great time, brother. I mean, it is. It's a tiring time. I don't want anybody to think that you're just going to go there and sit around and look at stuff. That it isn't that way. I mean, there's definitely work to be done, but it's a very precious time.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Preaching. all those good memories. The preaching out there 8 hours a day. Yeah. I mean, you could stay out. It's amazing. Over there by Trafalgar Square on some random corner, you've got thousands of people flowing by swimming all day, right? Staggering.
Thousands all day long. I mean, it is constantly going. Yeah, constantly going. It's amazing. I don't know where you can go in London and there not be a crowd. I mean, I just don't even know.
That's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Now you're going to be on the plane with Heath and Dan, aren't you? Aren't you on the same flight?
Yeah, that's the way it looks. Yep. So,
are you a little concerned that Heath and Dan, they haven't been on? I don't know if they've been on a plane before. I'm not really sure if they'll behave on the flight, or they're gonna. Well, you got to make sure they go to sleep and don't talk the whole way. That's what I'm saying. Don't let them talk theology all the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely planning on trying to sleep because you've made it clear that when the plane lands, we're driving off our gear and getting on it. So I want to get all the sleep I can because of the time change and everything. I've never been able to sleep on a plane. I just can't. I can't sleep setting up. It seems like everybody beside me can sleep, but I can't. But this time I'm bound and determined I'm going to sleep. So we'll see how that works.
I'm going to take some melatonin. Do you take melatonin or anything?
I did. And it didn't really seem like it worked. It normally will work, but I'm going to take a prescription sleeping pill this time. And I'm going I'm gonna do my best to go to sleep. I don't care if I miss a meal. I just want to get.
Well, I know they
But
feed you. You take off and they feed you. It's like 7 o'clock. When I'm full, I don't really sleep well when I'm full. I don't eat late at night, so
yeah,
that
yeah,
messes up the whole thing. And then anyway, so yeah, man, sleeping is hey, I don't know if I don't know if you saw the messages, but the customs has changed over there. Did I tell you that?
yeah. I read that this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
read that, or I think that what Bobby had said.
yeah, he said it. That's what happened when I was over there this summer. And so you just put your passport in a machine. There's nobody to talk to. And it, if it matches your picture, your facial recognition matches the passport, you walk right in. So
Wow.
it's easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
So should be a lot of fun, Lord willing. Well, David, day 2. Now listen, you guys are meeting David when you get over there. He lands at 9:05. David's like a 5-year-old. Don't let him wander off and get on the wrong train or something. Spend the whole day trying to find him. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I've seen his interaction on the group text already. He's been ornery already, I think.
Oh,
But
that's right. Were you there when he had shingles? Were you there on that
I
trip?
think I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there. Yeah. I
First
was.
trip he had shingles, man.
Yeah.
And then
I
Dorothy
remember.
was there, and she what is that stuff? Vegemite sandwich. Remember that stuff that was down the eating for breakfast? That black
Oh, I know what you're
bread.
talking about. Yeah. Yeah. It was. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I
Uh,
don't remember the name of it, but once you said that, I remembered. Yeah, and I was like, she mentioned. I think someone mentioned it to me, and I was like, nope, I don't try new things. I'm not, especially if I'm traveling. Nor do I take drinks that you give me, a powder to put in my drinks. I don't do that anymore. I've learned my lesson.
Kid, man, it's all love, bro. Just trying to keep you healthy. Trying to keep you healthy.
Yeah. Anybody watching, if Bill gives you a bottle of something to drink that you've never had before, or a powder to put in your water,
See, that's
just
right.
words of wisdom. I would not.
Don't drink unless you're ready to start. See,
Yeah.
Vegemite sandwich. That's right, Heath. He says Vegemite. It's a Vegemite spread. They got it down there in the Highbury Center cafeteria. Yeah, David had shingles, and Dorothy was trying to get him to eat that Vegemite. I think that's what it was. He was having a tough time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, man. Well, listen. Anything else you want to share? It's great catching up with you. Just a little foretaste, Lord willing, of us being over there together.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it, brother. I've been keeping it in prayer. I've been meaning to get on the prayer calls, but I've got so much stuff going on with this church and everything that I've been pretty busy, so I haven't been able to. But I've been definitely been keeping it in prayer, and I'm looking forward to it, brother. I really, it'll be a great time.
Okay. Well, cool. Before we go, just catch everybody up about what you're doing now, specifically the church plant. We know you. Just catch us up on what you're doing. Take a few minutes and catch us up.
Well, as I said, I had mentioned to you earlier that I'll be my wife and I will be doing a church plant in a neighborhood here in our hometown, and Dee and I will be leading that. In fact, we was at a meeting last night to kind of finalize that, and I'll be the senior pastor there. We're starting this church. There's no one going to it. It's been closed for 2-3 years. It's like 106 years old. In fact, we're thinking about doing our first service on the 106th anniversary of the first service. And, it's a scary thing for me, but while I've never looked forward to being a pastor and never had a desire to do that, when God opens up the doors for something, I go through it. That's just the way that it's always worked. And whether I feel like doing it or whether I want to do that or not, that's really besides the point. It's what God has opened up the doors for. And so God has opened up the doors for this. I've talked with you. I've talked with many of those who I look to as elders. And of course, the pastors at my church are the ones that had brought this to me to do. And so, it's just the way that God's leading it. So we're praying about, how we're going to go about that. And I mentioned to my pastors last night when we was at a meeting, I said, this building could very well be burnt down by the time it's over with, as dark as things are. I said, the word will not be watered down. It absolutely is not happen. But it could go the other way. God could cause a revival to break out. And that's what I hope for. Praise God. Yep. So that's what's in my future here is, yeah.
What's the name of the church?
It'll be a Faith in Christ Community Church. So, yep.
Okay. In Springfield? North?
Bloomington, Illinois.
Bloomington.
Yep. Yep. And it's got a school attached to it. And so there's all kinds of possibilities here. And we'll just take it one step at a time and see.
How do y'all own the church? How do you have the church?
Well, what it was is that the last people that were there actually sold it to us for what the air conditioning system cost.
Gotcha.
So we was able to just pay for it outright, so we don't owe anything on it. We did have some water line issues, where the main water lines were broken, and we had to have those fixed. The people at the company there, after doing a lot of checking around, pastor had found a company that would, volunteer their labor, but charge for materials. So we've got that going. We've got water going and stuff. So I don't know if that's, I don't know if I just got off track there or what, but
that's good.
We got a lot of things going on.
So last question or two. So in your role as pastor, now, obviously you're an evangelistic man, a preacher and so forth. Are you going to just, how are you going to run the church? Are you going to build it through evangelism? What's going to happen here?
Well, evangelism is definitely the way. Like I say, there's no one going there now. Now, there's people in the neighborhood that probably had gone there before that will start going once it opens its doors. But we're starting with a clean slate. And so what I feel the Lord has put on my heart to do is to evangelize the neighborhood around that church and to let them know we're there, let them know we care about them, and just be there for them. We've got a park right across the street. We maybe do a fall cookout thing to introduce ourselves to the neighborhood. And so that's what we're wanting to do, is start with that neighborhood. And I've had other people that know me that is, said that we get this going, that they'll come and attend the church. And I don't want people to come from other churches unless they want to come and help out with this, with the ministry. But I don't want to just get people coming from other churches. I want to go out and get I don't want to, work off of another man's foundation type, so to speak. So it's going to be the neighborhood there. And then from there, it's a pretty good sized neighborhood as well. Probably early to mid 30s is the range, kind of first time home buyers and stuff. So we have some characters in the neighborhood that I've met already. So, which are, I don't mean to call them characters, but they're, they could be ornery. So
ornery people.
Yeah. And hot rodders and,
Really?
just all kinds of stuff. But I've had conversations with them, and, this kind of, yeah. So that's kind of what the goal is.
Ornery, that's your people. Ornery is a fruit of a certain kind of spirit. Those are your people, brother.
Yeah.
You relate well.
Yeah. And I'm not planning on giving up evangelism,
Right.
but using evangelism as a tool to bring them in. We've got a place down at the local bar district that we've been preaching at for several years. And, we'll continue to do that. I've got some guys from the church because I'm assistant pastor right now at a church that's open 6 days a week. And so we're busy 6 days a week there. And so this is going to be more of a family type environment rather than kind of transient or homeless or,
Right.
kind of, not that, but yeah, just a different environment. Because there's some people that won't come to our church downtown that have children and stuff. They just don't feel safe with that. So understandably.
Sure.
So yeah, but evangelism is definitely going to continue to be a major part. That was one of the stipulations that I just couldn't do it if it was going to be, I had to, give up the evangelism, but there'll be people that God will have there that can step in when I'm not there. So, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, brother. Well, fantastic. Anything else you want to share?
No, but if you haven't gone to London, I would definitely encourage you to see about getting that on your schedule, because it is an experience unlike probably anything you would experience, in a good way, in a very good way.
Cool.
Yep.
Amen. Ken,
All
listen,
right.
man. Look forward to seeing you Friday, Lord willing. Thanks for coming on.
All right, brother. I love you, man.
Okay, you too. Have a good
All right.
day.
We'll talk to you later. You
All
too.
right. See you. Bye-bye. Yeah, what a treat. You know, one of the big, great blessings of this preaching is all the other evangelists you meet along the way, and all the guys going. You know, Ken, of course, Heath, and Dan, the guys, David Day. You know, Joe Toy, Bobby's going, Adam Cutshaw, a couple of new guys, Michael Seathaler, and so some other guys. So you know, you just get to spend some time with them, man. That's one of the blessings. It's serves as a foundation for the ministry, and we are preaching all the time, 6-8 hours a day out there, man. You just really wish you had more energy to go, you know, all day long, you know, sun up, sun down kind of thing. But anyway, man, it's a great time. Ken's a great guy. We spend a lot of time together. So hey, listen, if the Lord's calling you to preach or go on a London trip, then let me know. There's so many blessings to it. I believe we all can say that we've gotten to know the Lord better through the ministry, through preaching and interacting, fellowship with each other, and ministering to the lost and so forth. So it's, in other words, it's all worth it. It's all worth it to get engaged and to leave Egypt, to flee Egypt and come and get engaged. Hey, listen, friends, y'all have a great day. Talk to you soon.